guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here for another bit of a different video today. Working on some more sort of craft ideas, craft fair ideas and gift kind of ideas. And again, just recycling things and using things up that you might have laying around. I'm not saying that you will have these laying around, but today I thought we'd make these little cute wooden blocks. Basically, they're kind of they're Christmas ornaments, obviously. You know, like the kind of baby letter blocks. So, I mean, unfortunately, I can't obviously stand them up to show you here. But, you know, you could kind of pop them on a shelf like that. Yeah, so that's those. They were created using these wooden block, you know, things from like the kids, you know, the sort of toddler trolley things that they've got. So, you know, I just thought ideal way to use these up, and obviously combine some really nice little Christmas gifts, you know, with them. So I'm going to put the ones to the side that I have already made, obviously, and I'll just move these out of the way. So to coincide with this, I'm going to do the launch of my Festive Frolics Digi kit. Again, it's a massive kit. I don't know when to stop really when I'm creating the kits. So you've got tons and tons of things. You've got tons of ephemera and kind of bits and pieces. I actually can't remember how many pages. I think there's 13 pages of ephemera, which is like your journaling cards, your tickets and little banner pieces and various different things. I created some little postage stamps and things. I mean, just lots and lots of things to play with and use around your projects and your journals. I mean, obviously this kit has been created with junk journals in mind, you know, predominantly, but, right, sorry, just a quick note. I've intermixed white and ivory card to give you a kind of idea of how different the images look. And I've got one actually that's identical, which I will show you, I think, towards the end. Just to give you a really good idea of the sort of subtle differences between the ivory and the white. So that's that one. Then you've got some tickets and things. You've got some pockets. I've done decorated pockets here, and I also have included a kind of blank pocket for you to decorate up and use bits and pieces. I mean, you could just kind of put that on there with some lace and things. So you've got sort of more scope really to, you know, tailor it to your own needs. You've got a coin envelope and obviously more banners and things like that. You've got an envelope here. You've got another sort of coin envelope here. A smaller envelope here. Some little either belly bands or trims, or, you know, however you wanted to use them really. And then you've got, of course, some fussy cutting sheets of lots of fun and gorgeous images. And again, I've tried to do them obviously in a variety of sizes so that you've got, you know, the maximum flexibility in things. So you've got some tiny ones, you've got some quite large ones, and, you know, all different types of images, some little kind of, they're not frames, I don't know what you'd call them really, but decorative elements, and some frames here, and yeah, various different things. Then you've got your stationery. You've got a Dear Santa and a Christmas list, which I just thought were really fun. And again, as usual, I've put these as the final page of the body section of the kit, so that you could print these out on paper if you didn't want to print them onto card. You then have got obviously your background pages of the kit, and again, it's huge. I can't remember, again, I do apologise how many pages that there are, but there's a lot. There's 12, I think. Yeah, so you've got a whole variety. You've got sort of some that are sort of, you know, split, and some that are completely patterned. This one actually is the one that I have included as your background page. It's obviously quite plain, as you can see, and obviously I've started including a plainish background so that if you wanted to, you know, run off, say, 5 of these, you could then put them back through your printer and print these onto them, and then you've got plainish backgrounds for your journaling cards. So that's that plain background. Got that one with the holly. Got this one here with the cute kittens. This one here with the little reindeer. This one, I'm not sure whether I've actually done that one already. This one here with obviously these vintage kind of adverts. I just love those. So I tried to give you a variety of sort of highly coloured ones and, you know, slightly more subtle kind of ones, because I know that not everybody loves the bright colours like I do. This one, I mean, having said that I love the bright colours, I do really love this kind of muted looking page, quite neutral. This page here, I mean, as you can see, this is printed onto white cardstock. Can you see how vibrant and bright that's come out? I mean, actually, I think the others have been printed onto copy paper. So, I mean, here, for instance, you can see the difference between the sort of copy paper, which again is white, but obviously because it must have a more porous surface, you lose some of the definition of the colour compared to the sort of thicker cardstock, which I guess has a more glossy surface, and therefore the colours just appear much, much brighter and crisper. So it's just something to bear in mind when you're printing out your pieces, really. And then this one here is the collage sheet, which again, I mean, isn't that just so cute? I just love every image. Just, oh, I love Christmas. So, you know, this is really getting me in the festive spirit already. So that's those. What I will do is take the holly and the other quite neutral looking sheet, and I'm going to endeavour to make some blocks very similar to the ones that I've already made. Just before I do that, I did say that I was going to show you an identical page, didn't I? I'm just trying to actually find the identical page now. Here we go. Right, so we've got this one here on the ivory, and this is the identical page on the white cardstock. So they're both on cardstock, 160 GSM. Can you see the difference in the colours? I mean, this is very vibrant, very crisp and clear and lovely. This is much more toned down. I mean, it almost has like a coffee dyed kind of effect going on. You know, yeah, I just wanted to kind of show you the difference, really. I mean, I'm not sure which I prefer. I think they both have their uses, depending on the project that you're using, really. But then again, I think these are quite suitable for cards and, you know, various different things as well, Christmas gift tags. But obviously, predominantly, they were designed with journals in mind. So I'm going to put them to one side. Now, let me move my cloth out the way so as I don't just get that really messy. And then what I'm going to do is take my blocks. Now, I am obviously not one for precision work, as you know. So things like this are quite fiddly for me to do. So how I have decided was the best way to do it is to take my block, and let's just say I pop it here. I want to just make sure that I've got enough to turn it over. And then what I kind of like to do is draw around my block with my pencil, like that. Then I would tip it over. That's going to be one of my sides. So this is like just drawing a template round for your pieces. Then again, just tip it back and tip it back for your other sides. So again, just draw around there like that. And then again here for this side, like that. And then pop it back kind of squared up. And what you're going to need to do now is have like two, oops, let's try and keep it straight. Excuse my head, but obviously, you know, I do need this to be reasonably straight, which I don't think it's going to be, which is a bit of a shame because that's going to obviously muck it up a bit. But let me just go there again. So we've got that and then I'm going to tip it like that. Oops. Okay. And then this one will be for your top piece. So please excuse my head, I just really can't see, you know, otherwise to draw around it. So that's your kind of shape that you've got roughly. Now I have done these before, where basically I've just covered them round like that and then filled in like the squares at the top and the bottom. And to be fair, that did work fine. As a method, that was, you know, perfectly fine. However, I was kind of thinking about it and just thought actually probably the, you know, the correct way to do it is probably like this. So I'm just going to cut this out. Now, I'm using copy paper for these, you know, for the covering of the block. The main reason I'm doing that, to be honest, is because it's obviously really nice and flexible. It's very easy to work with. And obviously we need something that's pretty flexible to be able to bend it round the blocks. So I'm just cutting around this like that. Like that. Like that. And then just cut along that strip there. Okay, so I'm going to pop that out of the way. Now, I've got this horrible feeling that I have not really done this very straight, but, well, hopefully it's okay. I mean, what you want to do is make sure that really, hopefully, you've got more than you need rather than less, if you see what I mean. So when you fold your pieces up, if they overlap around the edges, that's fine because you can stick them down. If they're less, if I show you what happened to me on my first ones, I had less. So you've just got a little gap there where obviously, you know, the papers didn't meet. I mean, I think that looks okay. I don't think anyone would be expecting them, inspecting them close up or anything like that. But, you know, it's just, I guess, something to be a bit aware of, really. So grab my Mod Podge. It's running out. So I have got another one here sat beside me. Should I need it. So, oh, come on. I might just get away with, well, she says I won't at this rate. Look, it's seeming very low. Right, okay. So then all I'm going to do is obviously paste on the paper to the block. So pop that onto that first piece. And then all you're going to do basically is be building up your sides. Whoops. So you're going to want obviously bit up here. Now there probably is a really great method for deciding which way round to fold your pieces in. Again, I don't really kind of have a method. I just fold in, you know, however the mood takes me. So there we go. That's that first piece. Then my next one, again, just bring that up here like that, and again just tuck that down. Oops, no, I'm going to have to open that other Mod Podge in a minute, I think. And then you're going to bring in this one here, like that. Now, don't worry too much about your edges because, you know, these are going to be looking like little antique children's toy blocks. So basically, I mean, I don't worry at all about the edges because I'm going to sand them down to make it look quite rustic anyway. So, you know, there really isn't any need to worry. So just pop the last bit on like that. then you can obviously kind of fold in and tuck in, you know, any corners that you want to. You don't have to. You can obviously use your card to spread the glue. Again, I mean, you don't have to. Okay. Now I'm going to leave that one to dry, and obviously we'll just do the other two. So I'm just going to wipe my surface down, because obviously it's now got some Mod Podge on it, so it's not ideal because my paper will be sticking onto it. So this one I'm going to do in that holly patterned paper. So move that out of the way. So again, I'm just going to kind of pop my block down where hopefully I've got enough to get round, you know, to do the sides. So I'll just pop that down there, and again, you know, I mean, probably the sensible thing would have been to use my shaped piece of paper as then a template for the other blocks. You know, I'm sure that would be a much more logical, time-saving, more efficient way to do it. To be fair, I just didn't really even think to do that. But also, you know, sometimes these blocks might not be quite the same size, you know, they might be slightly off, in which case then your template wouldn't really fit. And to be honest, it doesn't really take that long to actually kind of do it this way. So I don't think really that I'm, you know, kind of doing anything too terrible by doing it like this. So like that. Okay. I'm just wondering whether I want to have this one this way round, because then if I want to use this paper again, I've obviously actually got them more paper to use. So again, I'll just draw around this. Now you have to excuse my really disgustingly inky fingers today. I was doing another video, which I'm not sure whether that will have been uploaded by this point or not, but oh, just the worst video on the planet. And yeah, might not actually upload it at all, because I was embarrassed at the time and thought, oh my gosh, what a dreadful video. And then I was even more embarrassed when this morning doing my workout, I just was watching, you know, some of the videos in my watch list, and there were videos there from Joanna Clough. I think her name is Johanna, to be fair. Johanna. And 49 Dragonflies, who are just so amazingly professional. They kind of do these voiceover things, and oh, their video editing is just superb. And I just thought, oh, perhaps I really shouldn't be uploading that video, because I'm not really sure. I mean, like Nick the Booksmith, her videos, they're very professional and slick, aren't they? Yeah, I think lots of people's are. So I'm not sure that I should really be uploading my appalling video. Right, so, and again, I'm just going to now do exactly what I said I shouldn't do, and I should have used the piece as a template, but, you know, just in case it's not the right size, we'll just go for it like this. And then just do my sides, bring them up. Okay. I've never voiced over a video, to be honest. I've never kind of edited a video like that. I don't think I'd know how to do it anyway. Well, I wouldn't know how to do it. I can't imagine that I would make a brilliant job of it, because it must be pretty tricky to actually get your timing quite right. You know, where you're doing things. I don't know how that works. I don't know whether you play the video and record your voiceover. I don't know. But yes, I can't really imagine that I would make a very good job of doing that. I probably would be saying all the wrong things at the wrong times, and it would therefore be very confusing for anyone watching, who would be thinking, well, that's not what she's just done. She said she did this, and she's not done that. So it's probably best that I stick with my shoddy ways of doing my videos. But yeah, the video that I'm referring to, where I got covered in the ink, that was kind of taking it to a whole new level. So, you know, there's unprofessional and there's just plain shoddy. And now like this one, where I've now got a piece stuck on my finger. Oh my gosh. Right. It's really difficult doing videos for things that you don't normally do. You know, I mean, obviously my videos are predominantly junk journal related. So then trying to do tutorials for other things, it's actually really hard. Because I think you get used to what you're doing. And obviously, I mean, in my first tutorials, I remember, were really nerve-wracking and very scary. But now, you know, I'm okay with them. I don't kind of get so nervous because obviously I'm doing that type of thing all the time now. So I'm not saying they're great, but I'm saying I'm used to doing them. So I don't feel, you know, it's a stretch too much to do. Where this, I mean, obviously I have never done this on film. So for me, this is quite a stretch to do. And yeah. Right. I'm going to stop touching this now because the more I'm touching it, the paper is now just falling off into my hands. So I'm just going to pop that to one side. Okay. So then we've got the last piece, or not the last piece, sorry, the last block, which hopefully I'll be able to get from this page here. So again, I'm just going to kind of pop that there, draw around. Might have to move it over slightly just in case. So draw around there, go to the side, draw around there. I mean, I can't believe Christmas is nearly here. Well, I mean, it's not nearly here, but might be by the time I upload this video, to be fair. But just the year has absolutely whizzed by. I mean, don't know about you guys, but I just think life goes by so incredibly fast. The second you have children, it just, well, just literally flies, doesn't it? And with each child, it flies more and more and more. So I just feel time is speeding by, literally racing by. Okay, so that's my kind of rough template. Pop that down. Oh, I was the rubbish mum again at the school today. I mean, honestly, the teachers must just say, oh, look, that's her mum and dad again. She goes to the same school our boys used to go to. I mean, obviously, my oldest son, you know, he's left school now. And my younger son, he's still at school, but he's at high school now. So he's not at the same school. But I'm sure that we're etched on those teachers' memories, you know, forever. That they're now like, oh, it's those parents back again. Because we're always those rubbish parents. We're the ones who've, you know, forgotten the PE kit. We're the ones who've, you know, forgotten the, I don't know, consent form for the trip. Or, oh, if there's anything to be done, we're those parents who've invariably forgotten to do it. And this morning's one was my daughter's doing forest schools, which, I mean, that's a fantastic initiative, isn't it? You know, I think that's really a lovely thing that the schools are doing forest schools now. But she's doing it once a week. So this was the second week of doing it. So we remembered, obviously, last week to send her in her, you know, outdoor clothes. And lo and behold, here we are, week 2. I get to the school and I just see walking into the gate her friend dressed in her outdoor, you know, type clothes, ready for forest schools. And I said, oh, you know what we've forgotten? You're not dressed for forest schools. Ugh. So we talked about it over dinner last night and said, oh, mustn't forget it's forest schools, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And at that point, I really should have set a reminder on Alexa. I think I've said before, I'm trying to use my Alexa a lot more because, you know, being quite poor at remembering things like dates and things like that, you know, it could really be an aid for me. And I really should have, when we were sat having dinner, because we were in the kitchen, and that's where our Alexa is, I could have said, you know, right there and then, Alexa, set a reminder, you know, remind us in the morning, forest schools. And it just didn't even occur to me. Well, I guess I thought, you know, having talked about it only at dinner time, I was not likely to forget. But lo and behold, I did forget. So I obviously dropped her into school, said to the teacher, oh, you know, can she get by just with her wellies? Because she keeps her wellies at school. You know, they make them keep their wellies at school. So I said, can she get by with just her wellies? You know, she's got her raincoat. I mean, not that it's raining. It looks like a really nice sunny day out there. No, the teacher said, no, they're going to be outside and, you know, they might get wet. So I then had to quickly dash home, go back to the school, take her, you know, her outdoorsy clothes. Oh, I thought, oh, they must literally be like, oh, it's them again. We remember them from their boys who were here and they were always disorganised then. Clearly they've not improved. Just as rubbish now as they were kind of those years ago. Oh, just embarrassing. I mean, I have to say she wasn't the only one because, I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, 9 out of 10 of those children were dressed in their forest schools clothes. But I did notice a few others who weren't. So presumably their parents also were sent home to bring in the correct gear. Lucky I live near the school, to be honest. Because it could have been a right nightmare. Oh, rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. Anyway, so when I came home and obviously got her clothes, before I even went back to take them back to the school, I set a reminder on Alexa for next week. So hopefully there will be no excuses next week. I've set the reminder for kind of approximately, you know, 8:10 whilst we will be sat in the kitchen, you know, whilst she's eating her breakfast. I mean, that's like our, you know, our routine that time we will definitely be sat in there. So we shouldn't miss the reminder. We will definitely hear it. So even if she's then in her school uniform, we can quickly run and get her some different clothes, or, you know, I can quickly run and get her some different clothes and get her dressed. So hopefully we will not let the site down next week. Sorry, that was my sister there just phoning me. Right, so I've now obviously coated all of the blocks. You know, they're all now covered with the paper. Now, they are quite wet, so I will probably now leave them for kind of, you know, 20 minutes or so to actually dry. Because what I will now do is go around the edges and sand down to neaten them up and tidy up, you know, where I've got like these scrappy edges. I will just, I mean, I've just said neaten them up. I I will not be neatening them up, obviously, but I will be sanding them down so that they look a bit better. So I will be back. Right, hopefully they're a bit drier. I mean, they're not perfect, but, you know, they're probably dry enough for us to actually get going with the rest of what we need to do. So I've got here some sandpaper. I'm actually going to use this finer sort of sandpaper. And then I just go round the edges, taking away the excess paper, anywhere where the, you know, the joins are not looking too great. Just sand it away, because these are the natural wear and tear places anyway. So I mean, if you got some of these old vintage blocks, they'd be quite worn on the corners. So you know, I think that's quite in keeping as to, you know, the look that we're trying to achieve. So just go around like that. So I mean, anywhere where you've got some sort of bumpy bits, you know, where the paper is bulked out in the corners, just obviously sand that down. Okay. Right. More here. I mean, obviously, ideally, you don't want to sand back to the actual block, you know, because the block may well be coloured. I mean, mine obviously were yellow, so I don't really want to go back through to the block, but I do want enough wear and tear visible on the edges. So just like that. Okay. So just you know, so as it looks like it's been around for a little while. Okay, so I'm now going to pull in. I mean, obviously I'm going to do that with all three, but I might do that in slower time rather than endure you, or, you know, make you just sit there watching whilst I'm cutting out little bits and pieces. So I'm going to pull in the Festive Frolics kit now. And obviously not all of the pieces are going to be the same, or, you know, the right size for the blocks. So if I just find the pieces that I did actually use, I might have even cut that dog, I think, from there. So if I just do that again. So that's one. Then I've used this little Santa. So if I just get rid of these background pages a minute. Now, where did I use him from? I used one of these Santa's heads, so I can cut that one out. And I will tidy these up in a minute. So at the moment, I'm just kind of locating my images. So we've got that one and that one. What else did I use? I'll find where that Santa was from. I'll find him. I used this, I remember. So I will just cut that off. I did use one of those special handlings. I'm not sure whether I used it from this sheet or not. I think that's too big. Let's have a look. It's hard to remember, isn't it, what you've done sometimes, and then trying to kind of find the right pieces again is not always that easy. Maybe I didn't use anything from there, so maybe now I used this picture of this lady with the muff. I can remember being a child and having one of those woolly, not woolly, faux fur, you know, big muffs. I think it was white. Oh, I just loved it. Yeah, really, really loved it. I haven't spotted this now. Oh, isn't it annoying when you can't then remember what you've used? Let's go back through, see where that little image is. Maybe it was on the fussy cut sheets. What did I do with those? Yeah, used to love my little hand muff. It was lovely and cosy. Really nice for, you know, keeping your hands cosy and warm. It was just perfect. Absolutely perfect. I think I used that reindeer one as well. Oh well, let's just crack on because I could be here all day looking for the pieces, to be honest. So I might have to improvise a little bit. So just cut those out. I mean, it probably doesn't matter really if we've got the same image a couple of times. Maybe that's where I got that special handling one. I desperately always wanted to have a fur coat as a child. Again, this is kind of all back with that Gone with the Wind stuff. You know, I really wanted a fur coat. So, not a real one, obviously. And faux fur wasn't available like it is today. I mean, these days, you can pick up those children's fur coats everywhere and really cheaply. I mean, my daughter's got a couple. Well, she hasn't now. She's had a couple over the years. And they've been so cheap to buy. You know, like £10 and things I've managed to pick them up for in the sales. So really give value. But when we were children, they weren't really kind of everywhere. So eventually, I don't know how old I was, but I don't know, maybe like 9, 10, I don't know. I did eventually get a gorgeous fur coat and I got it for Christmas. It was kind of whitey grey colour, as I say. I mean, it wasn't real, obviously, it was faux fur. And it was like knee length. Oh, I absolutely loved it. And yeah, I mean, actually, they're really hot, aren't they? I mean, if I'm freezing, I've got kind of a couple of faux fur coats now. And definitely, I will wear those if it's chilly. Well, not those, not both of them, but one of them if it's chilly. They really keep you warm and cosy, so they're brilliant. Haven't got a muff, to be honest. I actually haven't even seen a little hand muff for years and years and years. I don't know whether you could even still get them now. Right, that's 2. So we'll just cut out this little dog. This is the most gorgeous image, isn't it? And I love this shade of green of the kind of foliage that's around that Christmas decoration. Just beautiful. Yeah, I remember with my little, you know, fur coat, I had this woolly bobble hat. Actually, the hat was really weird because it just had like this really big, massive bobble on it, which obviously kind of then pulled the hat really. And I think it was like a kind of maroon colour, which is not really a colour that I'm very keen on, to be honest. But I can remember, I actually can remember getting that hat for Christmas as well. Right, cut out this lady, and I think I cut her in a little bit smaller because otherwise she wouldn't have quite fitted on the block either. Right, so I'm going to pick which side. I mean, obviously these are interchangeable and you can move them all around. But I'm going to pick the best side, you know, the tidiest side to put, you know, what I would deem my favourite image. So my favourite is probably that dog. I just think that's a really gorgeous image. And I'm just going to Mod Podge him on. Oops. Like that. him down. Make sure he's stuck on there. And obviously I'm going to ink all around this so it looks really nice and vintage. And then I will coat it in some Mod Podge. So I've got that one there. I might put the round lady. Ooh, decisions. I might put the special handling. Although that looks really nice on the holly, I think, actually. Perhaps I'll put the lady. Oops. Okay. So, I mean, again, you know, these are just a really nice thing, I think, for like a craft fair item, or again, as a gorgeous gift for teachers. I just think, you know, they're quite simple. Not too fiddly. You know, I know this looks like it's taken me a long time, but I mean, actually, it's not really. I mean, in reality, it's not really taken me too long at all. I might just put one of the caps on there, I think. Now the cat, unfortunately, I had to kind of trim off a bit of that stocking because otherwise he was too big to go on there, or they were too big. So I'll just trim that round. Like that. And again, you know, they'd be ideal for, you know, like colleagues at work and things where you just want to give them a little something, but you don't really officially do kind of presents as such. I think, you know, stuff like this is quite nice, isn't it? Okay, or obviously just, you know, make them for yourself and have them in your own house. You know, also really nice. Just ink around this one quickly a bit before I pop this on, because I can just see quite a bit of white where you can't really get into the gaps. Oops. I'll just Mod Podge this one down. And then I'm saving this Santa because I really like him. So I'm going to put him somewhere else, I think, on one of the other blocks. So I might just do this one now. Like that. Okay. Right, my daughter's had to do, you know, her little bits of homework. I mean, it's not really homework. Well, I mean, it is homework, but I mean, it's not work as such. But, you know, she is only 5. But yeah, so she had to draw a picture of a character and then use some adjectives to describe the character. So she said, oh, I'm going to draw a mermaid. Actually, she made a brilliant job of drawing it. She started with the tail by drawing all the little scales and things, and she did it brilliantly. I was quite impressed. And she was showing me how she'd drawn the hair and things like that. So she made a really nice job of it. And then it had said about, you know, helping her to write the adjectives. Well, of course, she's super independent. She won't let you help her. No, I can do it. So she obviously ended up writing some very strange things that she said, oh, I'm going to read to you what I've written. And then obviously she couldn't remember what she had written because it obviously didn't really say very much at all. So, I mean, I'm sure that that's how most of the children's homework must be. I'm sure she can't be alone. But bless her. It was quite good that it had the drawing activity because that encouraged her you know, she might have moaned more otherwise. Right, so can you see that? I mean, it's looking quite nice and vintage now. You know, inked up around the edges and things, and with all the little pictures. So I'm going to now stick, obviously, the pictures onto the others and sand the other kind of corners down. So, in fact, I'll just do the one with the holly, because then that's a little bit different, so we're not just, you know, watching paint dry, kind of doing the same thing again. So I'll just do this one a little bit. So again, just going to the bulky kind of areas or the tatty areas and just tidying them up a little bit. I mean, obviously, once you've got your images stuck on, that also helps to disguise where you might have not made the neatest job, you know, of gluing it down. So don't be too hard on yourself, you know. Well, I say that, you may have made obviously a fantastic job of it. I'm sort of judging you by my standards, so I shouldn't really do that. I think, you know, what I'm trying to say is you can disguise things. It won't look so bad. Once it's all inked up and finished, no one's going to be really looking to see what kind of job you did of sticking the paper on. So, you know, because it's going to look pretty. So there we go. Oops. And obviously anywhere that the paper might be coming up slightly, again, don't worry too much, because once you Mod Podge over this, so here, then that's going to kind of help get rid of that anyway, because you can obviously stick it down properly then. Okay. So again, on this one, just going to pick my, you know, what I deem is the neatest side. Now this side, I've made a bit of a hash of the bottom. Well, it wasn't going to be the bottom, but it's going to be the bottom now, because you can probably see I've really not made a very good job of that. So I can just glue that down now, and that will become the bottom. So no one's going to really see that anyway. So then just pick the side that you think is kind of neatest. So I think probably for me that side. And then just pop on some of your images. So I really like this Santa. So I'm just going to stick him on. Like that. Just press him down, make sure he's stuck on there nicely. And again, you know, we're going to Mod Podge all over the outside, so it doesn't matter too much, because he will be stuck on by the time that you've, you know, Mod Podged him. And I might have the special handling. Or I might just pop the special handling on the back, perhaps, actually. Like that. Pop that down. Okay. I'll have this gorgeous image here on the side. I mean, this one's a bit Santa mad, isn't it? It's all the images are of Santa, which I haven't really kind of stopped to think about that. But I mean, it doesn't matter. It still looks fine. And let's face it, Christmas is all about Santa these days, isn't it? So, I mean, of course, it's not the true meaning, but you know, that's the thing that we seem to focus around a lot of the time. So I'll just cut around this. I mean, my circle cutting, not the best. But again, I mean, no one's really going to be looking that closely saying, oh, you know, how neat has that person got that Santa image. They're just not going to be doing that. So there we go. Right. Pop that one on. Okay. Oops. And I mean, I think 3 of these blocks is a nice amount. It's, you know, they stack nicely on the shelf and look really good then. So yeah, I think that's a good amount. So I'm just going to ink this up now. Again, you know, go over everywhere, make it look really nice and vintage. And that will disguise, you know, the tatty edges a bit more as well, because instead of being white, they're going to now look brown, as if it's, you know, wood poking through or something. So just go over there, a bit on the top around the edges, and on there like that. Okay. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So cute. So that's those two. Now I will just quickly do this one. So we'll just sand down and then select some images for this one and pop them on. So again, just like focusing on the corners and things like that, you know, where the natural wear and tear would really be. And, you know, the edges like that. Okay. Okay, right. Okay, so that's that one. Just need to select some images, so I'll quickly do that without boring you again, so bear with me. Right, so I've selected some images and fussy cut them out, so as not to kind of, you know, just bore you all whilst I'm doing that. And I'm just going to now, again, just Mod Podge those on. So I've got this little one of the reindeer here in a frame. So I'll just stick him on. And I'm only using the white because obviously the Mod Podge is quite oozy, you know, oozing out the edges. So that's why I'm pressing down with the white really, because just to catch any excess like that. And then I just used those decorative edge scissors to cut out just this little image off of one of the tickets from the kit. And just pop that down like that. So I mean, again, you know, you don't have to use the images as they are. As I say, this was part of a ticket, but you can just cut things, you know, out of other pieces. So you can always kind of use things that way. Just going to stick this one on. So this was one of the little faux postage stamps, which again, it was actually too big. So I just cut the border off to make it, you know, so as it fitted on. Again, just press that down. And then I will just stick this last one on. I'm just going to ink around him a little bit before I put him on, just because he's got a little bit of white showing where he was a bit tricky to cut out. So obviously I am going to ink the whole thing, but just in case he's not so easy to get to once he's stuck down. So there we go. Okay, so that's my pieces now stuck onto there. So again, I'm just going to take my distress ink now and distress around the whole thing. I can put my sandpaper away as we finish with that. So just just the whole thing there like that. And obviously, I mean, you could really pretty these up. You could use glitter around the edges. You could, you know, I don't know, put some bows on or something. You could put some little gems on. Exactly, you know, however you wanted to do them. I mean, originally I had thought, oh, you could put sort of a hook here and make them like a Christmas decoration to hang off the tree. But the problem is they are quite heavy because obviously they are those wooden blocks. But food for thought for other, you know, similar sort of pieces that you might be able to acquire. So there we go. And then the final stage is obviously take your blocks and then Mod Podge around the entire block. So again, I'm not going to show you the entire thing because, you know, how boring. So I'll just do this one just to show you. And all I'm going to do is do all the sides and the top for the moment, so that my bottom surface is, you know, so I'm able to stand it up, because I mean, obviously if I do the whole thing, I'm not going to be able to stand it down anywhere without it, you know, sticking onto something, and then it will tear obviously when I come to move it. So, and obviously I would do that then now with all 3 of those blocks. So I'm just going to move them out of the way carefully. Try not to handle them too much. And then a little gift kind of bag. So this is just a sort of cellophane, you know, cellophane bag here. And I'm just going to take my blocks that I have already made. So these ones are finished and obviously have been Mod Podged already. So they've got all their little images on. And what else you could do, because I have seen things like this for sale before where, sorry, I've just noticed a piece of glitter on there, so I just had to pick that off. So, right. I have noticed them before where they're actually kind of glued together. So you could actually glue them together, even, you know, at a sort of skew-if arrangement like that, if you wanted. But, you know, there's no need. You can just leave them obviously loose as they are. So this little cellophane bag, this has got those, oh, what do you call those? Like where it's got folds in the side. So it's quite a baggy bag, if that makes sense. You know, plenty big enough obviously for fitting things like this in. And then you could just take some pretty ribbon and just obviously, you know, tie it round the bag like that, and then just, oops, cut that down. And then you could, you know, obviously curl your, oh my gosh, clearly I'm not very good at that technique, so let me try again. This is there we go. That went a bit better. I don't know what happened with that first piece, but it was not playing the game, was it? Okay, so that looks so pretty now. And then, I mean, hopefully you can see that. Obviously I am aware that it's kind of stood up at the wrong angle, but then what you could do is take another piece, like from the kit. Let's say one of these round tags. I mean, actually, I'm not going to use one of those because that's on white, so I'd rather use one from the ivory. So let's use her, because she looks really nice and vintage, doesn't she? So we'll just cut around her. Now again, you have to excuse my cutting skills because I'm not great with the circular shapes. Oops. Cut around her like that. Come on. Okay. Again, you could obviously ink her up so she's, you know, really nicely matching your blocks. Now, obviously, I haven't backed her onto anything, she's on just that 160 GSM card. So, you know, she's quite flimsy at the moment. But of course, you could, you know, back her onto something. But then what you could do is obviously just attach her. You could either just staple her on, or again, no, I don't want to punch through the lady. So I'm just going to punch her here in the side of her hat. Use those hole reinforcers. Wow, I'm actually saying the name properly for once and not calling them page protectors. I'm just going to use the Mod Podge there just to help that stick. Oops. Help it stick to me, maybe, is actually what's going on there. So again, you can then just pop her on to the gift itself. So if I just wind that round, oops, kind of a couple of times, and then just going to do like a double knot here. So one, and then the other way to try and keep it actually knotted. Cut my thread stuff off, and again I'm just going to curl those little bits there like that. How cute is that? Oh, not in frame. So how cute is that? Now you can see it. So you've got your little blocks there inside that little cellophane bag. You've got your matching tag that you can obviously write on the back. Yeah, I mean, I just think that's such a gorgeous gift to give to somebody, you know, either to give as like a, you know, teacher's gift or to sell at a craft fair. I just think it's really, really, really nice. You know, I would probably buy that. Just before I go, I just wanted to show you. So, I mean, obviously, you know, that's the one that we've done. But I also did this one, which I just thought turned out really lovely. So this is obviously in the same sort of cellophane bag, and it's tied with this, I don't know really what you call this, but it's that sort of papery, I don't know, jute type stuff. And these I've done just like little antique kind of blocks. So they're obviously in these gorgeous colours here, and then I've just put a variety of, you know, hopefully you can see that, antique looking pictures on there. Don't they look lovely? I mean, I love that one with the lady, don't you? Hopefully you can see that. And the bee, that looks great. So yeah, you can really kind of do a variety of these. I mean, obviously the Christmas themed are brilliant for the Christmas craft fair. But these are just lovely for a little gift for somebody, you know, for any time throughout the year. So I just thought I'd show you those. I have also seen on Pinterest, actually, people do these blocks with, I'll just lay them down so you can see them. People do these blocks with like nursery rhyme themes and things like that out of children's books. I have had a look through my children's books, and despite having obviously tons of children's books, I didn't really have any with quite the right size images. Obviously the pictures were kind of much bigger, and therefore I would end up with a very weird looking picture on the blocks really. So it would be a case of finding a book that was just right. But I just thought I would quickly mention that because it might be something fun that you might, you know, want to do. So I hope that you like this little idea. I would love to see yours if you give them a try. And yeah, thanks very much for watching, and see you all again soon. Thanks then. Bye.